What's up, guys? It's Kara Corey here, and as you know, MTS came out with recently Snickerdoodle MTS Way, which is awesome for the holiday season. Who doesn't like Snickerdoodle cookies? So ever since this came out, I've had people writing on my social media accounts asking for a Snickerdoodle cookie recipe. So I'm going to give the people what they asked for tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And I always like to get my pan set up ahead of time. So I have a cookie sheet and I like to use parchment paper on it. Makes it nice and easy to bake the cookies. And I still spray it with a non-stick cooking spray just to make it easier to get those little suckers off there. So we're going to go ahead and set that aside. And for this recipe, it is critical that we mix our wet ingredients separate from the dry ingredients. Then we're going to kind of sift it all together. So to begin, we're going to start with our dry ingredients and get those all mixed up. And what we're going to use, and again, there's always alternatives, so you guys usually ask me, you can use alternatives for most of these ingredients. I am going to use oat flour for the flour base. If you don't have oat flour on hand, as I mentioned, you can grind up some oats, or you can also use whole wheat flour, white flour. I don't care what kind of flour you use, but I really like the oat flour for baking. So 2 full cups is going to go in our bowl. For sweetener, again, you can do this a few different ways. I'm going to use a combo of Splenda and also some of this coconut palm sugar. Coconut palm sugar basically acts like a brown sugar, but I kind of like having both in there. If you don't have brown sugar, you can just use one or the other. Doesn't matter, you can really kind of sweeten it to your preference. But what we're gonna do is add, got it right here, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of Splenda. And then we're gonna add 1/4 cup of the palm coconut sugar. Put that under, it's good. So whatever combo you wanna add for regular sweetener and brown sugar. Next, I am going to add some salt in there, and I'm not gonna measure it, I'm just gonna do a few cranks, put that in there. Salt does help with baking, with the baking process. It helps with all the flavors of the product. And for our leavening agents, we are going to use a combo of powder, baking powder and baking soda. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of each. For some reason you don't have both of these on hand, just double up one or the other, whatever you have on hand. But it does help because these cookies end up coming out very fluffy. So if you can add both to it, that is ideal. The other things we are going to add for flavors, pumpkin pie spice. I suck and I'm running out of it, but if you have it, add 1 full tablespoon. I'm just gonna add the sad little amount that I have left. And then I'm also gonna add in just a little bit of ground nutmeg. You don't wanna go crazy on this, it's super strong. It'll overpower the cookies. And our Snickerdoodle Way actually has a lot of those types of seasonings in it, so if you don't have any of this, don't worry. And ground cinnamon, again, I'm not gonna go crazy, I'm just sprinkling some in there. Because as I mentioned, Snickerdoodle has a lot of those nice flavors in there. So we're gonna go ahead and add 1 full scoop. Of the MTS Way. And that should make up most of our dry ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this around. Okay, for our wet ingredients, what we're gonna use, and this is such a great staple to have on hand, is 100% pure pumpkin. This is great to use in baking. It really helps in cookies, especially maintain the moisture. You'll find these cookies stay super soft and nice and moist. So 1 full cup of that pure pumpkin, we're gonna add right in our bowl. We are also going to use some plain Greek yogurt. If you want to use flavored yogurt, you can, but it's not really necessary because we're adding so many other flavors to this recipe. So I'm just going to use the same spoon and add 1/2 of a cup of the plain Greek yogurt in there. Next thing we're going to add is 2 whole eggs. What I'm going to have you do is just add 1 egg at a time. And I want you to go ahead and stir up what's in there first before you go and add the other egg. Once that's all good and mixed up, go ahead, add in your second egg and get that all mixed up in there. And last thing we're gonna add to the wet ingredients are 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Once you get that in there, go ahead and give it another mix and get that all mixed in. You can almost tell as you're mixing this up, the batter gets nice and fluffy. So make sure you mix it up real good. And then what I suggest you doing too, just because everyone's preference is different, take a little taste of the batter and see if the sweetness is to your liking. Now once you've got your batter completely mixed up, we're gonna go ahead and start placing them on the cookie sheet. I like to use a tablespoon just to kind of make sure I'm making them all consistently the same size-ish. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I know where my pan is here. I'm gonna do like 2 tablespoons per cookie because I wanna make them like a little bit bigger. It's okay if they're not perfectly the same size, but totally up to you. If you wanna make more like giant ass cookies, go ahead and do that too. That's always fun. So I've got 16 pretty big cookies. You can tell they already look thick. We're gonna go ahead and put them in the oven. Again, that's 375 degrees. We're gonna bake these guys between 10 to 12 minutes. All right, guys, I let my cookies bake for 10 minutes and that seemed to be perfect because I like them a little bit more on the softer side. So as you can see, they come out nice and big and fluffy. What I like about these cookies is that they are so big and very low in fat. Cookie macros can really hurt you very easily when it comes to fat grams. So this is an easy alternative to have a massive friggin' cookie that tastes phenomenal. These are nice and soft and moist, and I think you guys will love them this holiday season. So that is going to conclude this video on Snickerdoodle cookies. Don't forget to head over to tigerfitness.com. Get yourself some Snickerdoodle while it's still in stock. Hit that like button if you enjoyed and keep checking back for more.